Authorities are now considering placing Pasay City under enhanced community quarantine due to the recent spike in COVID-19 infections. That's on top of the 3 cases of the South African variant detected in the city. Vaccinations begin today in some private hospitals in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, Cebu and Davao are also gearing up for their inoculation drive starting tomorrow. Despite the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines across the globe, the World Health Organization says the pandemic will likely stay throughout 2021. Listen up, students! The Education Department is extending the current school year. And in entertainment news, Disney's upcoming movie, Raya and the Last Dragon, will be featuring a Filipino song in its original soundtrack. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. We begin today's newscast with 3 of the 6 new cases of the South African variant detected in Pasay City. This as COVID-19 infections in the densely populated area continue to rise. Greg Gregorio with the report.
Pasay City joins the series of symbolic vaccinations across Metro Manila. Its first recipient, Interior Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya. The Pasay City General Hospital initially received 300 doses, but Malaya said 5,000 more will be delivered. The start of inoculation in the city comes at a crucial time. Not only are infections on the rise with 519 active cases, 3 of the 6 South African variant cases detected by the Health Department are from the city. This is from the 350 samples sequenced by the Philippine Genome Center. But the Health Department is not linking just yet the rise in the city's infections to variant B1351.
We need to do a thorough analysis for us to be able to really confirm and say that the variants would be the cause of this increase in cases.
2 of the cases are returning overseas Filipinos, while the DOH has yet to verify if the other one is a local case. One of the infections is a seaman residing in a transient house, while the other one is a local worker. The city is now working hard to do contact tracing.
Ngayon po, nilalabas ang swab test results within 24 hours, pero hawa-hawa na po ang ating mga kapamilya.
The DOH cites foreign studies which suggest that this variant causes an individual to have an immune escape. This means they won't develop an immune response from a vaccine.
Instead that your antibodies will be working for you against a specific disease, hindi niya magagawa iyon because of the effect of this variant.
The Health Department tells One News's agenda that it now recommends that the general population of Pasay be vaccinated soon.
Initially do this for the healthcare workers in Pasay City, and then we will see if there are still enough vaccines to vaccinate the other members of the community in Pasay City. But yes, vaccination is part of our fast containment for Pasay City.
In the same 350 samples, the PGC has also detected 30 British variant cases. 2 new cases of the mutations of interest was also reported. There will also be a special genome sequencing this week to include samples from Metro Manila and Cebu. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Because of the confirmed spread of the South African variant, authorities are now studying the possibility of placing Pasay City under a higher quarantine classification. In an interview with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Interior Undersecretary Epimaco Dinsing said Pasay residents may be prioritized in vaccine distribution to prevent the spread of the more contagious variant in the area. He also clarified that while placing Pasay City under MECQ or ECQ is being considered, this is only their last resort.
Kung sinasabi natin ila-lockdown yung buong LGU, hindi naman natin inaalis yung posibilidad na yan. Ano? Pero kung makakaya po nating gawin itong granular lockdown na ginagawa na ngayon at sa aming pananaw, nagkakaroon naman ng epektibo naman at siguro last resort na po ang pagdedeklara ng isang MECQ or ECQ sa isang lokal na gobyerno.
On the other hand, Pasay Mayor Emmy Calix Turubiano assures her constituents that they are doing everything possible to contain the new variant. Speaking with One News's The Chiefs, Rubiano also appealed to the national government to hold off putting Metro Manila under NGCQ.
Bigyan po sana kami pa ng 2 weeks para matignan namin ang lahat ng sitwasyon upang magkaroon din po kami ng MGCQ. Kailangan mo pag-aralan maigi ang situation ng aming mga positive cases dito at mabigyan pa kami ng panahon upang kami po ay makahabol sa MGCQ.
As there are now 6 confirmed cases of the South African variant of the country, but its infection rates are still relatively low. That's according to infectious disease expert Dr. Edsel Salvania in an interview with The Big Story. He noted that some of these cases are returning overseas Filipinos, and Salvania added that the recent spike of COVID-19 infections in Pasay cannot be attributed just yet to the South African variant. However, he did stress that even if the South African variant were not as infectious and deadly as the UK variant, the public has to be more vigilant.
The Genome Center actually does confirm that we have 6 instances of the South African variant, and a few of these are returning overseas Filipinos. So these are real. However, they still are, they're still relatively low in terms of number. And so we're hoping that this is exactly what we want to do with biosurveillance. We catch these very early on so we can do our containment procedures.
Meanwhile, in an interview with Sa Totoo Lang, infectious disease expert Dr. Anna Ong Lim said we have to be ready for possible effects of the different COVID-19 variants on vaccine efficacy.
Aasahan talaga natin na yung pagbabagong yun magkakaroon ng impact dun sa bisa ng bakuna. Kaya binabantayan natin yan ng gusto. Susubaybayan din natin yung mga nabakunahan, titignan natin kung sila ba ay nagkasakit, and doon natin makikita kung ano ba talaga yung magiging bisa nitong mga bakunang to kontra dun sa iba't ibang variants. Habang kumakalat ang sakit na to, meron at merong posibilidad na magbago siya. So gusto talaga natin mapigil na yung pagkalat na to by whatever means we have.
Meanwhile, inoculations are set to begin this Friday in Davao City after thousands of doses of Sinovac shots arrived on Tuesday. Gemma Vansenia reports.
Hope finally made its way to Davao City. 12,000 doses of Sinovac vaccines arrived at the Davao International Airport via a Philippine Airlines flight. The vials were immediately transported to the Health Department Regional Office Cold Storage Facility. Davao City medical frontliners are the first recipients. It will start on Friday at the Southern Philippines Medical Center. Officer in charge Dr. Ricardo Odan says 150 employees, mostly doctors and nurses, will be getting the jobs that day. But he admits some have reservations.
May kaba sila, may fear sila. So I think the best way to convince them to promote this vaccine is you yourself should be vaccinated.
They target to vaccinate 90% of their employees. After inoculating SPMC personnel, medical frontliners from private hospitals are next in line. For News 5, Gemma Vansenia, we are One News.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. The Freeman reports that around 600 healthcare workers from the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center have agreed to get vaccinated. This after 7,200 doses of Sinovac vaccines arrived in Cebu on Tuesday. The Health Department is expecting 7,000 more doses to arrive in Central Visayas between March 4 and 8. This from the Philippine Star, the Education Department is extending the school year until July 10. The DepEd says this is to give teachers additional time to address learning gaps. This change will be implemented in public schools, while private schools are encouraged to observe the same policy. Schedules for school break, summer classes, and opening of classes for the new school year have yet to be announced. And this from Filipino Star ngayon, the World Health Organization says the COVID-19 pandemic will remain throughout 2021 despite the rollout of vaccinations in various countries. However, WHO Emergencies Director Michael Ryan says latest data shows that severe COVID cases and deaths may decrease further. He says vaccinating frontline health workers and those who are most vulnerable is important in boosting vaccine confidence. Time now for the latest news on the entertainment scene. The next Disney animated film will surely be extra special for Filipinos. That's because it is featuring an all-Filipino song as part of its original soundtrack. MJ Marfori with the details.
Another Filipino makes history. KZ Tandingan will be the first to sing the all-Filipino song Gabay for Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. Disney earlier teased the mystery singer of its upcoming Southeast Asian-themed animated movie. KZ says she's honored to show off the beauty of the Filipino language. The movie revolves around Raya, who's out to restore peace by finding the last dragon. It is set in the fictitious Comandra, inspired by ASEAN countries like the Philippines. Raya and the Last Dragon will premiere on March 5. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.